Welcome to the School of Love, the place where miracles are normal. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, the School of Love. My name is Maria and I am helping people discover their inner potential for love towards oneself and towards the others. From the very beginning, I must emphasize the fact that this channel is not part of my educational and research activities at Hiroshima University. It is nonetheless part of my privilege, joy, and sense of duty to propagate and implement knowledge, information, as well as motivation and inspiration outside the limited framework of academic endeavors. If you are new to the channel, at this moment I would like to ask you to please consider subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. Thank you very, very much. This helps us not only with the mysterious algorithm which seems to dominate the YouTube galaxy, but also with contributing to the expansion of the community of humans doing their best to impact positively the world and those around them by discovering their authentic selves and living life wholeheartedly. Thanks again. With that being said, let's dive right into today's topic, which is the relationship between self and other. This video is part of the series Things I Have Learned from My Kids and usually entails 5 mini ideas to be subsumed to a major idea. And in today's video, I will share with you one very powerful lesson my daughter has taught me when she was a child. Well, she was going to this very expensive private kindergarten in Frankfurt, in Germany, and I was sometimes very distraught by our position or by our referentiality in relation to other kids and to other families. And I remember that she told me something around the topic of who we or who she is and what other kids are actually doing in kindergarten. And she told me something like, I am who I am and everybody must accept and respect this. Well, she didn't put it in such words, in such very powerful words. This is my conceptualization after the fact with the distance of more than 10 years. But what refers to each of us was born in one's own uniqueness, and we have to respect our uniqueness, which comes. It is our birthright, and each of us is who or she is, and those around you have to accept this. And acceptance, radical acceptance, will automatically lead to respect towards the fact that each of us is unique. And conversely, this is what my daughter also reflected upon back then and told me about it, is like the others are who they are and everybody must accept and respect this one as well. Again, this is my conceptualization, is not precisely the way she has verbalized it back then, but she back then in kindergarten she had already noticed that there is always a kind of mutual respect, a mutual relationship between the way we treat ourselves and how we treat the others, and how the others treat us, respectively how they treat themselves. And this dialectic, so my daughter, she has been keeping it up to that to this very moment, in which before deciding upon something, she always takes into account the perspective of the other person. And so most of the time she doesn't agree with that perspective, but her decision tends to be softer after taking into account the perspective of the other person or the other persons involved in a specific project. The third point, which seemed to be very important for her back then, and which actually should be crucial for us as well, for each of us as well, is that each person must learn to listen to the others. Sometimes, like when we are small children, and this is a well-known fact in psychology, is that we are born as little narcissists, all of us, and it takes, I think, depending on researcher, 1.5 years to 2 years until we discover that the world actually doesn't revolve around us, that our mothers or our caregivers are not they do not live only for us, that we are not the center of the world, and that we actually have to, and that our actions impact those around us. And from there it's actually an upward development in which we learn that we can control our impact on others and on our environment, and we can choose. We can proactively decide if we want a good or a bad impact. But this is again very important, very profoundly impacted by how our caregivers deal with us, or have been dealing with us in our very early childhood. And one important an important part of this protocol of growing up is to learn to listen to others. To learn this, I say this in other videos as well, this is a superpower. Listening carefully, empathically, with integrity to others, without the intent of finding the best possible answer, is a superpower. And this is a superpower also because it allows to the other person to develop trust, and to open up, and to slowly develop authentic, wholehearted vulnerability towards us, which then leads to more authentic, more profound relationships, friendships, or romantic, or even work relationships, but also encourage them to apply the same procedure to others, so to encourage others to listen empathically and carefully and in depth to what other people are telling to them. So, and this becomes, a virtuous circle of making the world a better place. Number 4, which then relates to number 3, is that each person must learn to express oneself clearly and honestly. So it's not only about listening and being a very good listener, but also about learning how to communicate clearly and honestly. Again, she didn't put it in this very words. It's the way I conceptualize her thoughts back then. But she from the very beginning, she has started talking and moving. She was very keen on expressing herself so that I understand her clearly, and in order to avoid misrepresentation, miscommunication, misunderstanding at the end of the day. And now, related to number 3 and number 4, is that we all must learn to cooperate and to do and to be our best selves. Again, disclaimer here, this is not exactly her words, but it's what she meant. She explained it to me back then when she was, a lot of a toddler. I think she was 5 years old, and it was before she ever went to school. And what she referred to is like, we are stronger when we do something together, when we cooperate, when we talk about it, when each of us does what he or she can the best. And so competition, back then it wasn't so much about competition. Now that she goes to school, and she's actually in junior high school, now she learns to cope. First of all, she learns the dynamics of hopefully healthy competitiveness on one hand. On the other hand, she learns the strategies of healthy competitiveness, and she sees that cooperation is not always about giving in and compromising and looking for the best as a group, but actually also about cooperation is also about developing a healthy sense of competitiveness, as well as healthy constructive strategies to enforce or to apply that sense of competitiveness. But back then she was very keen on cooperation and healthy compromise, in which each of us brings the best to the table, while at the same time encouraging the others to bring their best to the table. Of course, there are downsides to this approach, because if each of us does only or most of the time what we can do best, there will be sides which we ignore because we cannot do, or we are not good at them, or we haven't learned them. And occasionally it is actually a good strategy, it's a good point to learn new things, to develop those parts of ourselves which are underdeveloped. And they are underdeveloped either because we cannot do it, like I cannot draw or I cannot dance, but I want to start a dance classes, and I want to start taking drawing lessons, or because we've never been encouraged to do it. So parents usually tend to focus not on things which are necessary, and then support us, like in pursuing the things which are practically needed in life. On one hand, on the other hand, or so we are not good at, or we have not been encouraged with, or simply we didn't know they exist. For instance, in my case, accounting. I have just accounting or business administration. I have recently discovered the fabulous world of financial markets and financial thinking. I'm also making a couple of videos on that, and it's actually a fantastic world. It's something I've never heard of. I've never been interested in. I mean, money is there to be earned and then spent or saved, but I've never really asked myself the questions related to economics or to microeconomics or to macroeconomics, how the world functions in terms of economics and the scientific dimension of the world. And I'm discovering it now, and it is absolutely fantastic. So while cooperation and compromise and healthy competitiveness are very important elements in life, so is the development of new dimensions of ourselves, or of things which either are not good at, or we didn't know exist, or we're simply very unskilled at. So I hope this helps. I hope this gives you fresh insights into what it means to be oneself, and how to position oneself towards the others, how to develop a stronger but also healthier sense of self, and how to develop a stronger and also healthier positioning and referentiality towards the others in your everyday life and in your more macro endeavors. Thank you for joining me today, and I'm looking forward to welcoming you very soon again. Love and peace to you.